So, welcome to the Livability Governance Finance Standing Committee meeting. And I am very happy to be chairing the meeting. It's great sitting up here. Welcome to everybody online. I did put it up on Facebook that they could go and look at it online. And when I did that, I didn't do it to draw attention to myself because I didn't realise I was going to be. Is my nose growing? Anyway. So, first of all, I would like to, any apologies or leave of absence, we don't. Mayor Otto, but I'd like to go to Councillor Duff for the recognition of traditional owners, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to acknowledge country and the land where we meet this morning, the Waka Waka land, and acknowledge the elders both past, present and emerging. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duff. Any declarations of interest? Well, if anyone, if we come across anything during the meeting, if you would like to do so, declare an interest then. So we'll go on with the confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. The minutes of the meeting held on the 11th, the confirmation of the minutes held on the 11th of October, yes, sorry. Somebody like to move? Thank you, Councillor Henshin moved, seconded Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. On to the Portfolio Corporate and Strategy Report on page 22 of the agenda. Councillor.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I'd just like to present the portfolio report as presented for the month of November. And happy to take any questions through our General Manager of Finance and everybody else that can answer those questions. But it's as presented. It's all online for everybody to see, the communications and everything else that's there around the media. And yeah, so I'd like to move that the report for the portfolio for corporate governance, strategy, people, culture, communication, media, finance, sustainability, ICT, and business systems, community representation and advocacy 2032 Olympics and Paralympics be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Does somebody like to second that? Councillor Duff. Anyone have any comments or questions on the report, Councillor's report? Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimous.
Chair, just if I may add, you're a bit quick, but which is, well, I won't say good, that would be unfair. There'll be a little bit more further information, but we received advice through LGAQ only just in the last couple of days. We're well advanced on our recruitment for trainees, the 10 trainees for this next year. Interviews are on, but we've actually secured our funding again through the state government for the 10 positions, so which is really good. So the school base, we've learnt from the previous of the school base are coming for, it's been 2 years, so the first batch of school bases are coming through. So rather than going 10 in one financial year, because we skip a year otherwise, so we'll start to break them up. So we'll be recruiting 5 school bases in the new year, but we'll add a little bit more to the December portfolio meeting.
Thank you. That's great news, and it's also great to see the opportunity for residents in the South Burnett to be able to gain some experience and employment possibly in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Acting Madam Chair. Yeah, look, I'm pretty sure we all got some phone calls in relation to this, and it's good to see the background there. And I guess it's a work in progress with these categories, because many of the phone calls were concerns about the rating of them and how they're not used. But it explains there in the background of it that they can suspend their licences, because the concern was if they gave them up, they'd be difficult to get them back in the future, or that was their concern. So that's good to see that there's an option there for them, and no doubt there'll be some work in that space again in the next financial year. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. That's correct, councillor. We introduced, or council opted to introduce 4 new categories into the piggery, thereby category of X amount of pigs per category. We contacted DAF to get some guidance because, as well, my rates team received several complaints or inquiries about the impacts of the categories that they'd have on their rural properties. So they were changed from rural to piggeries. But a lot of the properties only had suspended licences. They weren't actually operating as a piggery. So the rate in the dollars stayed the same as rural. However, that was only an introduction into that category, and council will now, part of our rating strategy, will review those costs and that going forward into our next budget. So again, we have background information there that the property owners didn't want to suspend or cancel their licences because they're very hard to to renew or to get back again, and they're valuable if they want to sell their property. So DAF have advised us that yes, indeed, you can suspend the licence, and then that way they can then renew it or whatever at a later time if they want to. So we've done that, and DAF have supplied us with a list of suspended licences. So we've now put that on their rates file to say that they will not be they will not go into the piggery category, that they indeed have suspended licences. And then we'll renew that every 12 months, and then if they're re-triggered again, they will come up there to say that they're now activated the piggery again. So we will then rate them accordingly.
I also note that one of the reasons that they don't want to give up their licence is because it is a selling point when they sell, and also, we need to also acknowledge that it gives them a financial gain when they are selling. So it's not like they are not getting anything by retaining them.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just, I guess, a question or comment that in category 611, it's up to 3,499 SBU units. Would there be any opportunity to have a category under that, another category, say for argument's sake, up to 1,000, and then from 1,000 to 3,499? Is that a possibility or worthy of a conversation down the track?
Through you, Madam Chair.
I don't know whether this is where we would actually discuss that, Councillor Henson, or whether we would be doing that when we're going to the rating on them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm happy to take that on notice. And we do have, councillor there, the category there, 611 is under 3,000, anything from 3,499 down is that category. But we will engage with our consultant there, our rate modeller, John Perry, and there's a few of these things already that John is working on, and we'll be having workshops, so that's when we'll discuss that. But I'll note that as well for inclusion. Thanks, Councillor.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Would like to go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So the next is 8. I've really got to get my eyes checked. 8.1, Community Development, Arts, Heritage and Library Services Portfolio Report. Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's a fair bit in this report, so I just want to mention a couple of things. So since the last meeting, we've had another Youth Council meeting, and thank you very much to our CEO, Mark, who went along to that, and because I was unable to be there. So they actually discussed climate change and things like that. But this will be an ongoing project for the council to consider to talk about next year as well. I also want to bring attention to, when we talk about Youth Council, that nominations will be open coming up soon, I believe, in January or the end of this year. So please keep an eye out for that. We've had the the Black Summer Bushfire Grant, so we've had the Shine Butter Zone workshops and luncheons. We've had the Grow and Connect scholarships, which have happened. And also, we've got coming up, we've got the South Burnett Health and Community Expo, Services Expo, which is on Thursday, I think it is Thursday the 23rd. So, you know, that should be a great event for the community. It's from 9 till 4, so just turn up at the Kingroy Town Hall. You will find a lot of the different services we have throughout the South Burnett there. And the very first year we had this, I was in awe because there were some services there that even I did not know about. So I suggest this is something that the whole community can attend, and it's a really important thing for you to go along and see just what is out there in your community that may be able to help you. There is the meet and greet for the health professionals and service providers with the local community, which is supported by PHN and Head to Health and the South Burnett Regional Council. So South Burnett Regional Council is running the South Burnett Health and Community Expo services on Thursday the 23rd November at the Kingroy Town Hall. So please go along to that, guys. The library's been extremely busy. The library is always extremely busy because the library staff just doesn't know when to stop, and I thank them very much for that. You know, since the last meeting, they've celebrated Seniors Month. They've been at Nanango for the Under-8s Day. They've had an amazing Saturday with the Spooky Saturday Roundup, and that was an amazing morning. And they've got close to 200 people, and I would probably say we had well and truly over 200 people there that morning because there were a lot, you know, coming and going over the time of the morning, and it was seriously fantastic with some amazing costumes. So I thank the library staff for putting that one on. And they've also done a couple of them have done professional development, which was wonderful to see, which they discussed sustainability, AI, local history, and mobile libraries were discussed. And the staff, we've got amazing staff, and now they're excited to explore how these can impact the service delivery for us as a council in the future, which is really interesting, where that could lead us. The libraries also have the health clinics in the libraries. So on Tuesday the 4th, they visit in the libraries, but also on the 14th of November, staff are going up to the health clinic at the Kingroy Hospital. And they're hosting an expo day to launch the new screening equipment. So library staff will be available to chat with families there, which is a really great space to discuss the First Five Ever and the early literacy program and sessions that we host in all our library branches. The Swaggy Man events, Swaggy Man, so he'll be at Blackbutt and Nanango libraries. So he'll on the 30th of November at 10 a.m. at the Blackbutt Library, and the Nanango Cultural Centre on Friday the 10th of December. So the Swaggy Man encourages the love of Australian music and language that's both fun and interactive, and both sessions will be attended by children from the local schools as well. So have a chat to the library staff. Don't forget, they'll also, over the Christmas break, as always, they'll be doing amazing holiday activities, and they will also be at the Kingroy Christmas Carnival with a stall there for that one. Now, I do want to bring the biggest thing, I suppose, with this is our community grants. So we've been busy with the community grant space, and I thank the staff for putting this together. So the Blackbutt Avocado Festival, $3,000. The Wandai Lions Club, $2,868.80. The Blackbutt Singers, $2,082.50. The South Burnett Western Performance Club, the Lions Club of, sorry, some of this is cut off on the sheet. So the Lions Club of Blackbutt Banarkin, Christmas Carnival, 2,500. Looks like the Western Performance Club had 1,000. It's just a little bit out of alignment, sorry guys, I didn't double check this. The White Dove Peace of Mind Ball was given $3,000. The Cumbrian District School of the Arts for the Christmas Carnival, $1,000. The Nanango APM Heritage Society for Waterhole Rocks, $3,000. The Proston Community Kitchen Supplies, looks like $1,000. The South Burnett Gem and Fosking Club, $1,500. The Proston Pastoral for equipment and protection additions and upgrades, $3,000. Mergen Bulks Club for the shed replacement, $3,000. And the Kingaroy Rugby League Football Seniors Club, seniors and juniors, for an outdoor movie nights, outdoor projector and speakers. So I think that's a great one too. So that's $2,998. So that's a total of nearly $31,000 that we've given away to our community groups for some great projects that they've got on. So I suggest people go on and have a look at that. And if they want to apply, the grants will be open again in February. For those Australia Day grants, you can apply for any time. So they'll need to start getting those applications in now for running Australia Day. So I'd like to move that my report be accepted. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. And I would just like to add to that library staff are definitely, when you said about them doing some courses, I think our staff could probably teach a few people on some of the great things they do at the libraries. Anyone who hasn't been to the library and seen some of the events that they have going on at the libraries, it honestly is a fabulous place for people to go, interact and make connections. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded, Councillor Duff. Does anyone else like to make comments? Sorry, Councillor Duff.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Just want to know, with the caretaker mode, are we able to still do our community grants funding round? Is that still part of our normal everyday activity?
CEO, but I believe that goes straight through because we've changed the policy because of that, and it goes straight through the GM of communities. So it'll fall back to him. Thank you.
Oh, okay, no worries. Just I've just got a few community groups needing money now, and just wanted to know if there was any opportunity to do something before Christmas with some of that grant money, because I've got even just the Lions Club have sent me an email asking for some support for promotion for a fundraiser to try and get some money for the drought committee, so that we can start to get some money out. So they wanted to, I've got a request there. I've got another request from the Wheatland State School wanting some hall hire fee waiver, and I've got no money left in my discretionary fund. I don't think any of the councillors seem to have all spent their money, and I just wondered whether there's any opportunity to progress some of those prior to Christmas. Just wanted to seek the views of council.
Through you, Madam Chair. I mean, yeah, if there are groups out there wanting to consider grant funding, it's probably best just for them to make contact, or through yourself, shoot us an email with the key contact details, you know, what they're actually after, what they're trying to do, and then we can see what we've got available and where it might be able to fit in. So, make contact with myself and we'll go from there.
Thank you, I'll do that. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments on the report? If not, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. We're now on to 8.2, the Community and Lifestyle Operational Update. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Through the chair, I'd just like to present to you all the updates for the operational for this unit. I think it's quite self-explanatory, and if you have any questions, I'm quite happy to take them.
Would somebody like to move that we accept the report? Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Potter. Do we have any comments? Sorry, Councillor Potter.
Again, can I just bring everyone's attention to the library statistics, because as usual, library statistics are just incredible. And again, thank you to our library staff.
Councillor Potter, your halo is shining. So if there are no further comments on that, Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you. I was just reading about how we were successful in obtaining the 2024 Quicker Conference, which I believe will bring a number of professionals from that tourism space to the South Burnett, which is an exciting opportunity, and also from an opportunity to showcase what we've put on offer. I just wondered, Deborah, if you could provide a bit of an update as to what that might look like for the year ahead in terms of planning for that conference.
Thank you, Councillor, through the chair. The Quicker Conference, we have, with Quicker, chosen some dates for November next year. We are hoping to get around 80 delegates to that conference, to the region. That is our aim. And we will work with the Quicker Committee to shore up the program for those 3 days. So they'll come in on the Monday, have 3 full days of conference, and then go out on the Friday. So the team are now starting to plan in conjunction with Quicker what that might look like.
Maybe for people who aren't aware of what that actually is, can you just explain that a little to our community of what it actually involves?
So the Quicker Conference is around tourism and tourism in the region, and it's an opportunity for a lot of tourism and operators from throughout Queensland to come together to talk about tourism, the latest updates, what they're doing, how they deliver within their areas, and to have some professionals to talk to them as well. So for our region and for the tourist industry, it's a really good showcase for us.
That really is a fabulous opportunity. So I look forward to being a part of that. That will be great. Councillor Potter? If there's no further discussion, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Next agenda item is 9.1, the trustee lease, the Tingura Sports Association. The officer's recommendation that committee recommends to council, the South Burnett Regional Council resolves that the exception in local government regulation 2012 section 236 1B, and I think that's a 2, but it may not be. I really do have to go. 1B2, thank you, applies to council if the disposal by way of a grant of a lease of the valuable non-current asset, which is Lot 91 on Crown Plan FY 2885 to the Tingura Sports Association. South Burnett Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the trustee lease between the Council and Tingura Sports Association Incorporated. On terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers are satisfactory to the Council. Would somebody like to move that motion? Move Councillor Duff, seconded Councillor Henson. Any discussion? Councillor Shoemaker.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a little while since this one's come back to us, and in the initial conversations we talked about the potential impost of the water being used for the toilets on the Sports Association, and that there was going to be some further conversation with the Sports Association just to make sure that they were capable and able to take on full maintenance of the facility. If I remember correctly, it was a while since this came forward, but I just want to make sure that that conversation has been had with the Sports Association. They're supportive of taking on full maintenance, which I assume is right, but you should always ask.
Thank you for your question, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we had been in conversation with Tingura Sports Association about the water. There's not a simple fix for this particular site. There is no existing water infrastructure over that side of the highway. So you know how there is bore water available in the township to the homes. Unfortunately, there is nothing available over that side. So it's a matter of connecting over to the other side of the highway and providing water down there. So there's a significant cost involved in that. And those conversations have been had with the Tingura Sports Association, and that's the sort of thing that we could work in partnership together over a period of time to actually look at funding opportunities to put that infrastructure in, and they were welcoming that sort of idea, but it would be something that we would work towards. So in the interim, we would have to continue an arrangement where water would need to be transported to the site. So yes, we would have to continue that arrangement until something like that could be secured. So that would continue to happen. We would continue to budget for that. There could be, once this group gets up and going and funds become available, we would sort of work towards maybe sharing those costs. But certainly at the moment, our suggestion would be is to continue that arrangement for at least another 12 months. So this group really gets in, gets settled, gets financial. They have certainly made some improvements to the facility, and we're working together about managing the building as such and making sure that it's locked and serviced adequately. So when they do open it, they're responsible for servicing it. So it is clean, it's got toilet paper, and it's then re-locked back up, so it doesn't get vandalised and it doesn't become a place for people to use as a public toilet. It's really just specifically for the Sports Association at this stage.
Yeah, thank you for the update. I'm really excited about the vision and the plan that the Tingura Sports Association have for that area, and it was wonderful to hear some of that from some of the members the other day at the Tingura Hall meeting. Really can see that will be a challenge into the future, and I guess on board with trying to find some solutions for that group, because it has been wonderful to see a junior club established in Tingura, and to see on Sundays, certainly when I come past, it is very frequent that area is busy with activity, which is just so good to see, because I've been driving out there every weekend for the last decade, and I can assure you that I've never seen the activity happening in Tingura quite like I have of recent, since this club has established themselves, and they've been working really hard. So thank you for the work that's gone into preparing the lease and those ongoing conversations. I think that's really important, and anything that we can do to try to help the sustainability of that club is really important. So thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. Yeah, look, there's been some great conversation. You're right, Councillor Shoemaker. Tingura is certainly dancing along at the moment there with that cricket club. They have two sides in the competition this year, or two sides in different competitions this year, so that's a credit to them. I know the conversations we've had down there previously with some of the members have suggested that the locals there could cart water if that meant assisting in putting water in that tank. And also there was a conversation in time, or perhaps down the track, where funding might have been available, or grant funding available, to put a bore down there, which might be a very great option for them, rather than to the cost to put water across the highway there. So they're working in that space. They've got a lot of ideas down there, so yeah, wish them well. Thank you.
That's really good to hear those comments, Councillor Henson, because I might be old-fashioned and come from an era where clubs started and clubs did a lot of their own fundraising, and they did not look to council to do everything for them. So, you know, I believe doing the lease on the ground is really great. I have been a couple of times into the Tingura Sporting Association when they've been having some cricket matches. I agree with everything that's said. It's really great to see that. However, I do believe that it's not council's role to be really hand-feeding a lot of these organisations. I believe they do have to be doing stuff for themselves, and I think the suggestion that they might cart their own water until grants or whatever are available is great. I'm not really in favour of that we have to put water on. I think other organisations pay for their own water, and so should these guys. Councillor Duff?
Yeah, I just wanted just pretty much what Councillor Henson said, because when I was talking to them, they said that they actually had a site picked out where they're pretty sure there's water, so they're keen to get water on that side. And also the other thing that I think is wonderful is that they not only want to do cricket, but they want to do all sorts of activities there into the future. So they're a proactive group, and yeah, just wanted to support the motion and just flag the fact that they are definitely wanting to as soon as they get this lease, I'm pretty sure they'll be looking to try and get some funding and get that ball happening, because they've actually got a spot picked. So all good. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? There are no further comments. Won't go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is 10.1, Trustee of Reserve on Lot 80 FY 2562. I'll pass over to CEO. To Leanne, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'm happy to talk, councillor, through this proposal and report here today. So just so everyone understands, the current reserve up on the Bunya Mountains, it's actually up on the Bunya Mountain Road, Lot 80, is actually held by the Department of Environment and Science, and they are surrendering or relinquishing their rights as the current trustee. So the Department of Natural Resources has asked Council if we're interested in becoming the trustees of this reserve. And in the report, we've actually demonstrated where the site is. And you can see from the report, we've had a number of discussions up on the Bunya Mountains with the Bunya Mountain organisation, talking to them about alternative areas at the Bunya Mountain for a community hub or a community hall. I think we'd probably need to call it more of a hub. And where would that sort of facility be best located? So that's part of this discussion as well. And we did have a look at whether or not this particular site would be suitable for such activity. It's probably too small. And the Department of Natural Resources has indicated that they also don't recommend that this is the ideal site. And I think we had a previous resolution to go and talk to the community and look at where alternative locations would be up there on the Bunya Mountains, and that's included in the report. There is limited locations, and there's limited land that is actually either state land or council land. And you can see that we attached a letter there that we had communication back with the community organisation some time ago, just outlining what are the options moving forward. And there are some areas probably more suitable in the Western Downs Regional Council, but further discussions would need to be had with Western Downs Regional Council, and also we probably need to go down the path of looking at some sort of feasibility report. However, at the same time, we have this smaller reserve. It's only the last remaining reserve at the Bunya Mountains. We would recommend as officers that it's probably something that council needs to consider, and holding the trusteeship of this reserve for community purposes, while we continue down this path of having discussions about what areas and what does the Bunya Mountains need to look like in the future. We know that also the fire brigade shed has limited land and space for their growth and the services that they're providing. So I just think it's something important for us to consider, and we would make a recommendation that council would take on the trusteeship and hold this reserve for a little while until we decide moving forward with the community on what needs to happen.
We have a mover for the recommendation. Councillor Duff, seconded Councillor Potter. Any comments? Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. So, Manager, you're saying that it's in the report that it doesn't really suit for the Bunya Mountains Community Organisation. The land is on a fair slope, is that correct?
That is correct.
So my concerns are that if we, like, how big a hurry are these guys in to relinquish this? I'd rather go, unless, I wouldn't support this unless there was a an organisation or something like that that is ready to step straight in, because we certainly don't want to be left with it on our books. As far as having reserves, we all know, we all talk about how much reserve land we've got and taking responsibility for looking after it and maintaining it and all that sort of stuff. So as that currently sits, I won't support it today. Not that I won't support it in the future if there was some organisation up there that would step straight in and take it off our hands. Yeah, I struggle with this because I have, knowing the land and knowing the organisations up there and working very closely with them, the Bunya Mountains Community Organisation have already identified that that's not suitable. So that one is definitely, I would say, struck off the list. And the Bunya Mountains Rural Fire Brigade, for them to go over there and put some sort of an established building on there, on the slope of it and all that sort of stuff, I don't know that they're that keen on that. So I struggle to support this one. Happy with whatever the chamber decides, but yeah, I won't be supporting this today, simply on the grounds that we're unsure. We're going to go in there. If we do take it on, there's no guarantee that we will have any organisation that will step in and take it off at this stage. There's no indication. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, that would be correct.
Yeah. So if the recommendation there had an organisation ready to step straight in, I'd be more than happy to support it. But as it sits there today, I won't be supporting it as that recommendation sits. Thank you.
Councillor Potter.
Yeah, so up until now, who has been, just a couple of things. So we've already got the other block of land that council maintain up on Bunya Avenue, is that correct? And also the other thing, at the moment, who is maintaining this block of land? And therefore, if we take this on, so maintenance then falls back of this block of land, keeping it to it's got to be kept to a fairly high standard because it is the Bunyas. So that would fall back to council then, is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, that would be correct. Currently, the trusteeship actually sits with the Department of Environment and Science, so they're maintaining the allotment at this stage. So yes, if council took on the trusteeship, then council would be responsible for the ongoing maintenance of this reserve into the future.
Councillor Duff.
Just through you, Madam Chair, just wondering if after hearing what Councillor Jones has said, could we put this on hold pending discussions with community groups to see if there was any interest, rather than just taking it on and then, like he's suggesting, there might not be any interest. You know, if the fires were interested, fire brigade were interested in going across there, or if some other group, but otherwise, what would be the purpose?
Yes, certainly happy to have further discussions with the community if that's what council would like us to do. I think what we were trying to do is we are very aware that the Bunya Mountains has a shortage of land going forward, and trying to look into the future. I mean, we have got our waste facility, our bins, right at the entrance into the main part of the Bunya Mountains. I'm not saying that this is the ideal location either. We haven't really gone down that path to actually investigate. But as this village, township, continues to grow, what other services are we going to need to put in place up there, and where would we be able to access the land? The only other parcel of land that council has is the Allen Sterling Park right on the corner that is heavily vegetated, and it's really parkland, and there's the community organisation really looking at protecting that and promoting the use of that area to provide more of a tourism facility. We're also very aware, by having the conversations up there with the big bike track, the mountain bike track, and all of the activity that is occurring up there, we are seeing a higher level of activity and people needing car parking, and also bike parking. So I'm not sure, looking in the crystal ball, what we need this site for, but just knowing that this is the last parcel that is available up there, and if we don't take on the trusteeships, then the state will offer it to others. So it could be other community groups could also go directly through to the state and acquire, or make application to be trustees as well. And at this stage, I thought the the purpose for the reserve would be just to hold it for community purposes. As we work through what those needs are in the future, then we would work through that and need to make application to the department to maybe change the use of the reserve. But yes, I'm happy if council wants to do some planning around this and look at what the needs are for the future, or as councillor or acting mayor has mentioned, we don't have a community group that's necessarily writing to us and asking us to hold this land or partner with council. So yeah, either way, happy to take direction from council.
Councillor Potter?
Yeah, sort of as a follow-on question from that, just wondering whether with this, is there a time frame they have given us to say either way?
Yes, the department has asked us to make application or indicate our interest in taking over the trusteeship. That time frame has actually lapsed, so we would like to be able to get back to them as soon as possible. They have made contact with us and they're genuinely interested in council's position on this at the moment.
Can I ask, you said that it's not a, that it is a steep block. What area of it is actually usable?
Just wonder if you can just go down and have a look at your, there's photographs attached to the report.
Yep.
You might be able to see there in the photographs.
On page, I'm on page 61.
On page 70 is the actual photographs. There are aerial photographs, but I think I would suggest that you to look at photograph on page 70.
Oh yeah.
So the area is some of the area is cleared, some
Yep.
of the area contains vegetation, but there is an area there that we would have to mow and maintain.
So my personal opinion is 1,200 square metres is a fair sized block of land. It's bigger than most houses, you know, it's over a quarter of an acre. I'm thinking that the Bunya Mountains are really, you know, as is often quoted, the jewel in the crown. It really is a fabulous tourist attraction. You know, even for ourselves looking in the future, as Manager Leanne said, you know, there is no other land up there. I think it would be very, very foolhardy of us to pass this opportunity up, because it would be an opportunity for us at some stage to maybe look at something there to hold and divert tourism from there to the rest of our region. You know, if land up there is so difficult to get and that land is available, I personally think we should definitely grab it. It's not like it's 100 acres we've got to maintain. It's not a huge amount of land to maintain. So I think I would be very supportive of holding that. But Councillor Henson?
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. Yeah, look, can agree with you, Councillor Erkins, on that. A couple of questions, and they're probably minor ones. There's no, in the report there, financial implications, and I guess that's the cost of just maintaining and mowing it per year. Yeah, it's a 1,200 square metre block, which is probably a couple 102 or 400 metres bigger than a house block, but the rail trail, the bicycle track up there, Lord knows where that'll go, or what they might want for that in time to come. So I guess the legal and the financial implications would be minor to the value of what it could be up there. So I don't think you get too many opportunities to acquire it, not that we want too many more assets, as Councillor Jones has alluded to, on Council's register, but I think that's a little bit, as you say, jewel in the crown. It's probably well positioned being on the side of the road there and up on that spot. It's got a reasonable slope on it. But if our financial implications are just maintaining it and mowing it, I think that far out. The value of the block and the position of it and its future use would far outweigh that. Thank you.
I was just talking to Mr. CEO wonder if there would be any opportunity for us to have that freehold, if we can apply. And I just know going up there to the, looking at the opening of that mountain bike track and seeing that the money that Western Downs have put into the Bunya Mountains to attract tourists and then to get tourists going their way, it would be nice for us to be able to grasp some of those tourists and bring them our way. Councillor, sorry, first of all, yeah, Manager.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, there is that possibility going forward of freeholding the land in discussions with the department.
Thank you. Councillor Shoemaker?
Thank you. Yes, that's some of my thinking. I really think in relation to this one, I wanted to understand, you said it's a trustee lease. So in terms of that process, is that by which a process where we would have to go to community engagement to freehold that land, or you work directly with the department? What would the process actually look like?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, yes, we would have to go through community consultation. That would be the process through a trustee arrangement with the department.
And we would be the sole trustee?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
So we would be the sole trustee, so then we could take ownership over that community engagement process and the process through to freeholding, which we know can take time. But couple of thoughts for me. I think we should always really look to the future. I'm mindful of the maintenance costs, but I'm also mindful we have moved on a lot of parcels of land over this term of council that have been able to be used for other purposes. Really, the bikes, the mountain bike tracks, the mountain bikes on the mountain is huge at the moment. And I think having that future thinking about what kind of being on that road to the Bunya Mountains Road, I think close to the tracks, I think we really do need to be thinking about what kind of future infrastructure we might need up there to support tourism and make sure there's safe parking, safe space for the future. And I'm also mindful if we freeholded it. My other question was, in terms of commercial opportunities, you know, with the bike track up there, I know now at the moment you can't actually wander into the restaurant for dinner. You have to book ahead. And sometimes during winter, I've gone up there and booked a month in advance for dinner. You know, I wonder just into the future what kind of opportunities there may be in terms of commercial for a small bike shop. You look at little towns like Derby in Tasmania with their mountain biking trails, even what's happening in Esk with their mountain biking trails, the commercial opportunities that come with, you know, small coffee shop, small bike shop, opportunity to repair your bikes. These are just some of my thoughts out loud. And the other thing I was thinking was, in my last visit up there, I spoke with some of the rangers, some of the park rangers. They're actually really struggling, and I don't know what the conversation with the department might be, but they are really struggling to retain staff because there's not enough housing for rangers on the mountain. There's only one property that I understand, and the current ranger has to move out, I believe. There's a time limit on that. So I do think I recognise the slope of the lot, but I also recognise the houses that are built on some pretty extraordinary slopes themselves. Mine is one of them. I think you can get around that with engineering. And so I'm supportive of the recommendation because I think there is a piece here we do need to consider. It is the last available lot. The value of land up there has increased quite substantially. And I think for that future council, the opportunity to freehold that and look at other community uses or potentially investigate what development application might be able to go through. My only question, Leanne, is with the department, like being that it is a government-owned block and that the park rangers are employed by the state government, is there an opportunity to have that conversation, obviously between departments, you know, the fact that that land could potentially be used for housing for the park rangers?
Through you, Madam Chair. The Department of Environment and Science actually are the ones that have trusteeship of the reserve, so they haven't identified the need to actually use the reserve for that type of purpose. So I'm not sure why. We haven't had those discussions with them, but they're the ones that are surrendering or relinquishing their trusteeship. So that's why it's an opportunity for ourselves maybe to hold the trusteeship until these discussions, and over time we work out what is the best use going forward. And as I think we've spoken about, I think the mountain bike park, I think we need to see how that continues to grow and develop, and what are some of the needs moving forward for the Bunya Mountains. And this land may be able to provide the space for some of that, something to be developed to support that. And where we were thinking, it was really around, yes, community use, but also services. And it could be when they are having national events, which that's what they are planning to do there, national titles, it could be that the space is just purely used in the interim as bike parking for a whole heap of bikes and security, just to support what is actually happening up there on the mountain. But look, they're discussions that we need to have with those committees moving forward.
Yeah, thank you for the clarity. I'm fully supportive. I think it's a good opportunity for our council to be on the forefront of doing some future planning for the Bunya Mountains.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just some questions. Like, I don't disagree with, and I said it, I don't disagree with every comment that's here, yes, but there is comments in this room right now of questions unanswered and unknown. We do not know what's going to happen, and we talk, and Councillor Shoemaker and myself and the CEO are going to Brisbane next week to try and talk to the state government about releasing land back into our control, and our CEO, freehold land, all that sort of stuff. There is a lot of conversation that needs to be had. And as far as mountain bikes go and putting mountain bikes as a park or something, like parking mountain bikes there, you go and ask those people that have got $10,000 mountain bikes that are going down to have a coffee at the coffee shop or the tavern or all that sort of stuff, because there's nothing up on top at the moment. And it's been mentioned you could put a shop and all that there. I understand that. And as far as building a house, engineering, all that, it's got to be a pole home, because if you have a look at all the other houses up there, they're all on poles. So it's a significant cost. For me, totally support the idea and understand fully that it is very, very rare land and you get an opportunity like this. And I would certainly say and support it, but I would like to have those discussions. Is there a possibility, manager, to go back to the department and say, can we just have a conversation around getting it freeholded for a start? Because we're talking about here now just as a trustee. Is there a conversation that we need to have before we make a decision on becoming the trustee, or whether we can get it back to freehold land? Is that a possibility to have that? Because I would support everything that everyone said in this room. Totally get it. But I don't want to be put... And yes, we've disposed of land through that, but we continue to talk about losing land because we've got too much of it, and we're trying to get state land back to the council as freehold. That's what the conversation is that we're going to have in the council down in Brisbane in a week. So for me, as that recommendation is written as to become the trustees, when there's so many more options that we haven't discussed, as the manager said, there are so many conversations that we haven't had, I would fully support something around, going back and having further conversations around the possibility of becoming freehold, because it would be so much better to have it as freehold than trustee land. So, yeah.
So, Manager Leanne, if we were to take it on as a trustee, as opposed to waiting first to see whether we could get it freehold or waiting until after, is there any difference in that, apart from the fact that we would actually have it tied up if we took it straight up, whereas if we wait until after, in the meantime, we don't know, we've already reached the time, they may give it to somebody else and we lose our opportunity. Sometimes we need to, take advantage now and then.
All I'm saying, Madam Chair, is the fact that can we go back and ask the question of the department, is there a possibility to become freehold? And why would we go through the process of becoming trustees and then go through another process to become from trustees into freehold when we could do it up front? All I'm asking is there a possibility to go to the department and ask a simple question, would you consider putting it into freehold to council? That's all I'm asking.
Is there, through you, Manager Leanne, so they have offered this to us. Could they also offer this to Western Downs?
I would have, through you, Madam Chair, I would actually have to check that. At this stage, they've offered it through to council as an expression of interest. So we are to put our express our interest that we have an interest in becoming trustees of the reserve, and we need to nominate the purpose as well of what is the purpose, and our recommendation would be for the purpose for community use at this stage. There is no cost involved in trusteeship, so making the expression of interest, taking it on, and we are the trustees, there is no actual cost, where if you're going to go down the path of freehold, potentially there could be a cost in purchasing it, or depending on your negotiations with the state, what is their position on freeholding some of this land to local government authorities. So at step number one, I suggest was trusteeship. There's no cost to council. You have it tied up with our interests, and as you work through what is the need for the future, or what are the opportunities to freehold, it could be that freehold could occur over the next 12 months if that's the position you would like to take.
Thank you, Manager. Okay, reluctantly, I will support the motion as it is, if that's the case. But if I'm around next year and this comes up, I will certainly be pushing and trying to, I'm happy to support. It seems that the majority wants to do that, so I'm happy to roll over this time around, and we'll work and make the best that we possibly can. So I will reluctantly support this, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Do you want anything to say, Councillor Duff, to wrap it up?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just thinking that jumping in and trying to get it freehold probably, if it's just going to be into the future for community purposes, we probably wouldn't need it to be freehold in any case, so that's a cost. So I'm just happy to support it as it is, as Manager Leanne has suggested, and just go forward with it and see where it lands into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, we'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Hang on, I've just got to find my next page. So 10.2, the Mergen Dog Park Community Consultation. The officer's recommendation is the committee recommends to council that the location of 19 Douglas Street, Mergen, be reserved for future development of a dog park facility. Consideration of funding the project in the 10-year Building Capital Works program and/or alternative funding opportunities through grants. Someone like to move that? Moved by Councillor Duff. Seconded by Councillor Potter. Councillor Duff, would you like to speak on the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, yes. So I attended the community consultation, and there was only one person came along, and then after that I had one person in the street stopped me and who's an adjoining neighbour and didn't actually want it to go ahead, and then we put the survey out and we've had good response from the survey. So I think the overwhelming support was there to actually have that position, and so I think it's from the feedback that the community wants that spot and that they do want a dog park. So I think it's a good recommendation that we put that land aside and that we try and fund it into the future. Thank you.
When I looked at this through the agenda, and I went online to look up the benefits of a dog park, because I did see that in Nanango there had been some discussion about somebody was in there and they were there for longer than they should be for somebody else wanting to go in. But one of the benefits that they actually did discuss is the community benefit and the community, bonding of communities, people who have similar interests. So one of the things as our towns get bigger, you do tend to lose that community bonding and people staying in touch with one another, and that was one of the things that they really expressed in this article that I read, that dog parks are a great opportunity for dog owners to meet. They have similar interests, and a great way for communities to keep in touch. And as I said, in this day and age, we talk about mental stresses, and so I think it's a great thing that we go ahead with this. Any further comments on it? There's none. We might put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carry unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, just quickly, we had a great roll-up out there for that community consultation. I think there was a perception that the council was going to do something else with it, but in talking to the community, and thanks to Leanne out there that day as well, that eased their concerns as to what certainly wasn't what we wanted to do with it, it's what they wanted to do with it, and it's a well-used facility, so it's good to progress forward with that for that community out there. There will be some work to be done on, and it states in there maintenance works will be required to be investigated, and that's with the stairs, but the community is also willing to work with council on that, with perhaps a supplier, some timber and other consumables there. So yeah, good result for the community.
Can I just clarify? So that this is the, because when we got out there, I think there were actually two different groups. There were the group who used the old school, and then the community hall. So this is a combining of the whole community. And I think, as I said earlier, when we talked about the Tingura, it's good to see, they were very proactive in, what they could do to help it and make it usable. And I think that's a great thing to see communities getting in and helping and doing what they can to make things achievable. So I'm very supportive of the motion. So we might put, Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask, just in relation, just wanted to be clear. Oh, no, I've just lost my map. Going electronically sometimes isn't as easy as it seems. I just wanted to be clear, so the building, so we're entering into a licence for the buildings, but there's quite a lot of land around the building, and I wondered if there'd been any further conversations with the adjoining landowner about that land, or just wanted to be clear in terms of what area the Geelong Hall Committee would be responsible for.
Through you, Madam Chair. Ideally, we would like to enter into a licence agreement over the entire allotment and not actually have part of the area. But yes, the committee could do a sublease over the actual adjoining farming land or area that is being grazed at the moment, so they could enter into a sublease for that. But at this stage, we would be looking at an agreement over the entire allotment.
And so there won't be any impact to the current person who might be grazing in that area in this arrangement. But the hall committee would, I guess, work with those adjoining neighbours if there were any.
I think that is the intent. That's certainly the conversations we've had and the follow-up conversation we've had with the hall committee. And that's why we would suggest to the hall committee actually formalising that and putting that into some sort of agreement. And then that way the hall committee members going forward in the future knows what's going on, and also the adjoining landowner has that sort of security, knowing that that the area isn't going to be occupied or utilised by someone else. So yep, that's the intent of the committee at this stage.
And just my last question is, and then those stairs obviously are probably the highest priority in terms of structure there. We can then work with the Drong committee to put forward applications for funding to the gambling fund or alike to try to help address that need.
Yes, certainly. From a workplace health and safety point
Yeah.
of view, we're just having a good look at those stairs and just checking what we do need to do quickly. We would like to have it designed up so it meets safety requirements, and then most definitely we would work. We've made contact with the gentleman that had made the offer about the timber, just understanding his qualifications and certification. So yes, we've had those conversations with him, and once we have our design done, we would go back to him to have a look at providing us with the timber to see if he has that timber that is suitable, and if so, then we would work through that, and then look at the cost of actually to be constructed through a licensed builder, and then whether or not, how we're going to fund that in the future. And most definitely we could look at grant applications and a partnership arrangement for that.
Fantastic. Thank you. Just want to thank the team for the work that was done. It was really wonderful to actually go out with yourself, Leanne and Paul, and to meet with the community and to have a good look around at the facility and to certainly learn how critical the facility is to that local community who use it every week for exercise classes and the like. I was really impressed to see that community spirit alive there in Doomba, and to see that facility used into the future. I think it's really exciting for the community. So thank you for your work and your efforts in trying to really understand their needs and coming up with a solution that means we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further comments on that, we'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Tingura Hall Community Consultation. The committee recommends to Council that Tingura Hall Community Consultation Meeting Update Report be accepted. An online community survey will be undertaken as part of the Tingura Hall Community Consultation, and a report be presented back to Council for future consideration. Oh, sorry. Okay, that was a late item. Would somebody like to move that we deal with this? Moved by Councillor Duff, seconded by Councillor Shoemaker. All those in favour? It's carried. So I've just read the motion. Would somebody like to move that motion? Councillor Henson, seconded by Councillor Jones. Councillor Henson, would you like to speak on the motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, look, that was a great community meeting down there the other night, and I must say, and I've passed it on to Manager Leanne, I've got some emails there from the community there that's thanking Manager Leanne in your presentation and explanation of how things can work down there and giving them some options. I think the councillors that was there, Councillor Shoemaker, I think most of us apart from Councillor Potter, due to other commitments, was there that night, and greatly appreciated by the community as well. That facility's been there for a long time, sitting idle. Hopefully, and in this report, and certainly those of us that are at the meeting, there's some great things going to happen down there. The community's actually taken it on board to actually start to do something with it. It's been sitting there in a dilapidated state, unfortunately, for a long period of time, and I think the community there have taken it on board that something has to happen with it, and rather than renovate it, I think whatever they move forward with there will certainly be a huge benefit to the community. And as Councillor Shoemaker mentioned earlier on, Tingura Cricket Club, whether it's a fit-for-purpose community hub there or whether it's a shelter, barbecue or something, that's what the community's talking about and working towards. So it's been a great result there and a great starting point to get something happening in that space. So yeah, it was well attended as well from the community, and since then I myself have had many emails and conversations with people But again, to pass on to the staff and yourself, Manager Leanne, really appreciated to go down and have that presentation on that night. Thank you.
So as a tourism portfolio holder, I will mention that we did gather after that meeting at the Chingura Hotel, where we continued a little community consultation. But it was really great to see the community come out and to see their enthusiasm for achieving something, and that really is great. So very supportive of the motion. Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just wanted to reinstate those comments. Certainly exciting opportunity about what could be in Tingura, and how we honour the past of that hall. It was amazing to hear of some of the history, and that, you know, members of the community came together in what were really difficult times and built something, a place where they could meet and gather and dance and connect with one another. You know, I think it's really important that whatever should happen, that we honour that history and those original pioneers who actually made this dream of having a hall a reality. I'm really excited about the conversation, the real positive conversation having with the community, and ensuring that we really understand. I think the survey is a great way to make sure we really understand the future needs of the community and what they would like to see and their vision for their town. And I think it's also a great way to ensure us as a council, if we do invest in a new facility or into this old facility, or whatever the outcomes of that survey may be, that our investment aligns with the needs of the community and what they actually are aspiring to achieve. So I'm really excited about this next step. I think that Tingura Hall has sat there sad and unloved for way too long, and I think it's great to see council actually finally doing something about it. So thank you to the team for that ongoing conversation and all the work that went into actually finding these costs and getting some really solid quotations so we can start to map out a way forward. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you. If there's no further comments on the matter, no further input, I put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So it's my turn to shine. The 11.1, the tourism and VIC's Sport, Recreation, Commercial Enterprises Portfolio Report. So just briefly, tourism, there have been a number of items progressed in the bike section, with the South Bennett Rail Trail has new signage at the start and finish in Kingroy and Mergen. They have a new brochure printed showing the rail trail, the link trail and all loop trails attached to the two main trails. The some new signage going up on the link trails, which unfortunately there has been a little bit of vandalism and some of those pulled down. There's a new video been put out by Bicycle Queensland. If anyone hasn't had a look at that, it's really a good little video clip. I'll try and go through and put it down as short as I can. Music in the region. Myself and Acting Mayor Jones attended the Waterhole Rocks opening, and that was their 10th anniversary, and every year it's grown, and they had around 500 caravanners attend that event, and it's just amazing. Their dance floor is, each year they have extended that dance floor, and I can tell you it is operating at full capacity. People can't all get onto that floor at one time. So it just goes to show, when we talk about our halls and them not being utilised, there is a great opportunity there to get them going, because dance is actually coming back into fashion and bringing that in under sport as well. It's good to keep your fitness up. The Visit South Burnett, I took the opportunity to attend the Caravan and Motorhome Rally in Dalby, where they it was a great opportunity. Visit South Burnett, we went down there and promoted our area. because the Waterhole Rocks and the music festivals that were coming up was a great opportunity to promote them. And I'd just like to ask other organisations that do have events if they were to contact me and let me know so that I can, promote them along with other things. That would be fabulous. I did attend the Day at the Dam Music Festival, and it was an opportunity to stay. I went out my motorhome and stayed at Bjelke Peterson Park, and it really was a great spot to park. Everything, it was very, very busy, and I think the Day at the Dam Music Festival really brought a lot of people into our area. And I'd like to congratulate and thank the dam manager's staff and council staff who worked hard to put on that event, because it really was a great day at the dam, and it was good to see. It was interesting to see the water police on patrol. I just wondered how many they expected to be performing in the water. But the sale yards, the dry weather has certainly hit our farming community, and it's very sad to see with this recent rain that it appeared to fall in many spots, and good on those who got it, but it was very disappointing to see that we didn't really receive much rain at all. So cattle prices have plummeted across the area, but hopefully there is an improvement with the rain that has been had at other areas. The aerodrome sealing and patching works along the tree obstacle removal has been completed at the Kingaroy Aerodrome, and I believe they also have an event coming up which Councillor Jones kindly offered to book me a spot in a glider flight, but unfortunately I've had to decline. Unless I'm unconscious, you won't get me into one. It was a 40-year celebration of the Nanango and District Netball Association, and that was a great event. They also had a dinner that night that they had a lot of past members of the Netball Association. It was really great to see them come back and see the young people all catching up. One of the things that I really did appreciate was they actually named the courts the Norma Harch netball courts, which showed appreciation from a current committee for the hard work that was put in years gone by Norma. And I think that a lot of organisations who currently enjoy such great facilities, those facilities are there through hard work of past residents and older members of the community, and it was great to see that recognised. One of the things I might also like to mention, the park runs continue to grow, with all park runs reporting a regular stream of visitors. And I was at the Nanango one last weekend spectating, not actually participating. But I know that next Saturday, they're going to be acknowledging the hard work put in by Therese and Martin Woodward, who actually started that one in Nanango and have put, I think, about 4 years of really hard work into getting that going. So that is the end of my report, and I'd like to move it be accepted and ask that someone second it. Seconded by Councillor Jones. Is there any comments to make on it? Councillor Henson.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair, and I'm happy just to question or notice there's in the aerodrome section also just been noted, and I had a conversation with the guys in there, the driveway, the entrance into the Wandai Aerodrome has been resealed, which is a great asset. It was getting a little shabby, but the question I ask, is there any progress or anything in future works or expenditure there with that? There's a small section of gravel as a taxi out onto the aerodrome. Is there anything in the pipeline for that to be sealed? Because it's a question I get asked regularly by the people in the Aero Club down there and the ultralights that ask that section is a little arduous on the planes and their propellers and things when they taxi out there. So anything happening or going to happen in that space? And
General Manager.
happy to have it.
Darryl.
Through you, Madam Chair, no, there's nothing in the Forward Works program in relation to that, but it's like anything, we can add it and see how it stacks up with the budget that we've got.
Councillor Jones, did you have a comment?
Yes, I did, Madam Chair. I just want to touch on a day at the dams, and there's been some comments made throughout the community. I just want to clarify a few things, and the council staff are only probably responsible for the positioning of certain things in the layout of it. And I won't go into all the negative comments that have been made, but I'm sure the people that have made them and the community may be aware. I've spoken a lot to a lot of people that have said to me and complained. And once I tell them the source that was responsible for those decisions being made, which were absolutely nothing to do with council staff. So I just want to say to the council staff, congratulations. They have been unfairly criticised in 99% of the issues that were raised. And they have taken on board some little things that they can improve on. But to the council staff, men and women and anybody else that had anything to do with that day at the dam, they've done an exceptional job. And I just wanted to clarify that 99% of those negative comments had nothing to do with any council staff decisions. Thank you.
Sorry, General Manager Brooks.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, certainly support the comments there. The staff put in a massive amount of planning into that event, and then leading up to the event and the event itself, and then the tidy up after was quite a incredible effort. We do have a debrief on the event next week where a lot of those issues will get discussed, worked through, and look for those opportunities for improvement at the next event. But yeah, certainly support the comments there that what the council staff did there with the dam managers. Heath and Rowena was really good, and I think when you saw where people came from for that particular event, it was quite incredible, the people that came to the area for that particular event.
On the staff that were out there working, especially on the day, it was a very hot day. There's not a lot of shade about for them, and they really did. I agree with you, Councillor Jones. They worked extremely hard. I think possibly some of the regulations that they had to adhere to were maybe there was a little bit of a breakdown in what some authorities thought it was going to be on a country. It's more a country type event, and I was there for a while, and I seen only well behaved. The community were very well behaved, and it was a very great event. So thank you, Councillor Duff.
Through you, Madam Chair, just wondering, with that debrief, are councillors included in that? Because we've had a lot of feedback, and we could probably provide that in a debrief that this may not have reached the staff. Just wanted to know if the councillors are part of that debrief.
Through you, Madam Chair. No, that was only going to be council staff that were involved in the event, but certainly happy if you've got any feedback that you've heard, just to feed it back through myself, probably in the first instance, and we can have a chat about it at the debrief next week.
No worries. We'll just send you through an email about what some of the concerns were raised. No worries. Thank you.
I just don't know, and this may be out of line, and Councillor Jones will be looking at me with a scowl. Some of these events that we hold, is it possible to have, as a councillor, to have a little more input into the events? Because there are some events that I feel some councillors have experience and can possibly add to it, where there are other events that we wouldn't be interested in, and different councillors have different experience in different things, but they also they have a certain knowledge of what the community are what our community are looking for, because you have probably a closer association with the community. And I would definitely love to be involved with some of the events that we do through our funding grants. So if that's possible for that to happen, I'd love to be involved in some of these things. So it'd be great to see if we can add anything to them. It'd be good. Okay, sorry, Councillor Henson.
Yeah, just quickly, Madam Chair, through you. A month will go by until the next report comes on. Just wanted to touch on the race that stops the nation out in Cumbria. a fantastic day out there, and it always is. They probably had the biggest crowd they've had there, I think, in a long, long time. It was wet last year in council, and then prior to that, COVID and whatnot. Have a new committee out there. People I spoke to throughout the day, they came from Warra, they came from Gayndah, they came from Eidsvold. It's one of the few country race meets that's held outside of Metropolitan that seriously does stop the nation, and it's a great, great thing. Just a bit of lightheartedness. The stories going around, and I've never seen it happen, but you deal with Queensland racing and you get allotted time slots for a race, and there was a gentleman got taken ill in the third race, I beg your pardon, and Cumbria had to postpone their race for 30 minutes. Now that clashed with the Melbourne Cup. So the story is that the Melbourne Cup put their race on hold for the Cumbria race. But I've never seen it happen. Cumbria race was 1,200 metres. The Melbourne Cup, of course, is 3,200 metres. They started that Cumbria race as they were putting the horses in the barrier. I didn't actually get to see the Melbourne Cup because involved with the local race. I've never seen that happen where a race has started and you have the biggest race in the Australian calendar that's virtually waiting for Cumbria to have their race. So Cumbria ran their 1,200 metre race and it finished. They went past the post and the Melbourne Cup race was started. So there was some frantic punting and there was some frantic shuffle of feet to try and get to the local race, as well as the big screen on the TV of the Melbourne Cup. I've never seen that happen in racing, but it was only due to the fact that there was a gentleman taken ill and we had to postpone that race for 30 minutes. So I wish him well and his family as well, but what a wonderful day.
Thank you, Councillor Henshin. There's no further comments. We'll go to the vote. Carried unanimously. So we might do the 12.1 prior to going for Smoko. So 12.1 is a request for a flying fox in the First Settlers Park, Banarkin. The committee recommends to council, the officer's recommendation, is that the committee recommend to council that the request for a flying fox be considered in future stages of the First Settlers Park development and council's 10-year capital works program. Can I have somebody move that motion? Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Potter. Is there any discussion on the matter? Straightforward. Oh, sorry, Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, it is straightforward, but I did have a question. I was quite surprised, like $83,000 to install a flying fox. I was kind of hopeful we might be able to nearly get a quick win here for the kids in that area, and certainly I know my kids have been playing in that park for a very long time. Is that the only quote that we got, or is that sort of the standard, for playground equipment now? Is there any option to... I understand, I'm imagining that the concrete edging in the wood chip softball is not ideal. I'm sure you probably would prefer the rubber, but I'm hesitant to ask what that would cost. Just keen to understand, it's a lot of money for a flying fox, and would love to see this happen. Just wondering if there's any other options.
By the time that it's going in our 10-year plan, by the time it's due to be done, it's probably 800,000. So it's really, do you want to answer that?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, this is a standard sort of costing. There is a number of different playground equipment, off-the-shelf type of businesses where you can purchase these items from, hence the quote just for the flying fox. And then there's the requirement, our playground standards that we have to meet for soft fall, so all the falling distances that are taken into consideration. So yes, we do have to have that amount of soft fall. And then the concrete edging is to ensure that the soft fall doesn't spread. We can actually keep those amounts of soft fall in that concentrated area. So if there is a fall from the piece of playground equipment, the child remains safe. And this is to meet all of our Australian standards. And I think council, it just demonstrates going forward for future playground replacements, there is some serious dollars associated with replacing equipment, fixing equipment, and adding new playgrounds to our region. And I think you'll see that when it comes through the playground safety audit that we're undertaking at the moment. Yeah, I think we're all going to be surprised of what sort of costs going forward. But yes, soft fall is very expensive, but it is a requirement under the Australian standards, so there's no savings there.
Just one supplementary question, just the playground audit that's being undertaken, so the Banark Settlers Park obviously will be part of that. And in terms of that future planning, like I guess when we know more about the playground equipment that's there in Banark, and you know, perhaps there would be an opportunity to look at switching out aging or old equipment, replacing it with something like this. Is that sort of, you know, I'm mindful of the costs and how you might actually be able to achieve some of these outcomes.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Councillor, you've got two projects happening at the moment. You've got the playground safety audit, and then you've got the comprehensive reval of our assets. So it's timely that the two are going to come together, and we'll be able to form a very detailed 10-year capital works or 20-year capital works program, I believe, in the playground area specifically. So you'll have a very detailed plan going forward on where you need to actually put your investment to bring playgrounds up to standard and maintain your assets, and also some hard decisions on some of those really, really old assets, what we're going to do with them going forward. So look forward for the information coming forward and those tough decisions next year.
Yeah, thank you. I think that work that you're doing allows us to make some really clear evidence-based decisions and really get targeted with our investments. I really do appreciate it's very strategic, and I look forward to those ongoing conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. If there's no further comments, all those in favour? Passed unanimously. Councillor Henson? Councillor Henson moved that we go for morning tea, seconded by Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Thank you. Back at, oh, that clock's different. Okay, so we'll be back at 11 o'clock. Thank you. Councillor Henson, seconded by Councillor Jones, that we move back into commence meeting. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the port. I keep moving that up and down. I'm trying to read that. Is the portfolio for regional development services, community and social housing. Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. Quite a short report this month. You can see the team have been busy, 67 customer requests and 59 building applications through the building team. You can also see there the number of building applications projected to be received for the current financial year is 378, comparison to 402 the previous year. There's also some information there around planning for the month. The planning team have received for the one month, 30 days, September, April, June and November, all the rest of 31 days, over 100 customer requests, which is an enormous undertaking. Not all of those are easily answerable in one phone call. Also received 8 planning applications and attended 1 pre-lodgement meeting, which is great. There's been 4 material changes of use, 1 reconfiguration of a lot, 1 plan ceiling and 2 operational works permits. And our planning applications are tracking at about 176 for the year. Comparison to 121 shows there's still a steady pipeline for growth. I think the plumbing reports there as well with the statistics. 12 class 1 and 10A domestic no sewers and 6 domestic sewers. So, you know, that's 18 new house applications there for plumbing, which is pretty great. Tracking at 279 for the year for the plumbing team in comparison to 236, which still shows there's quite a lot of work happening across the region. I think the most exciting thing, the thing I am so pleased to read, I'm sure you will be too, is that we have received advice in relation to our planning scheme amendment that from the state government that the major amendment to the planning scheme has passed through the state interest review and that council can now proceed with public consultation, which is excellent considering that has been sitting in Minister Miles' in tray now for some 18 odd months, and even longer when you consider when we first actually went to the state in 2021. So thank you so much to the team for progressing with that. Really looking forward to taking that major planning scheme amendment out for public consultation. And of course, resourcing. It's great to see welcome Dave back after 3 weeks of leave. Thanks for coming back. We really do appreciate it. And as stated there, you know, we still very much desperately need ongoing assistance due to the increase in frequency of customer requests, development applications, pre-lodgement meetings, planning scheme review and internal council pressures. So certainly a lot happening in our planning team. I would like to certainly move that my report be accepted. Thank you, Councillor Erkins.
Thank you. Do we have someone to second that? Councillor Jones?
I just had one question.
Yes.
Just in relation to the community consultation process, just mindful of the caretaker period and the time that council actually now has to adopt the major planning scheme amendment, and would really appreciate an update on that, Manager.
Yeah, thanks. Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, obviously we got that notification late last week of the state giving us the green light to do the community consultation. The council actually agreed on a consultation plan back in July last year in relation to the planning scheme amendment, so we're running with that. After talking to the coordinator, we're probably looking at, there's probably a few resources we need to get our ducks in a row before we go out to the community consultation, but we'll probably be looking at starting that in early December. And yes, we do have that Christmas New Year period where, people are away and got other priorities. But we'll probably run the consultation period through to the end of January. And that's the minimum. Well, I think council resolution was that they wanted a consultation for minimum 30 days. So we'll meet that even though we've got that Christmas New Year break. And then after that, we'll be having a look at the submissions. And obviously we don't know how many, how complex the submissions are, whether there's any dialogue back to the state maybe, just depends on what we get. And then obviously there'll be a report to council. So depending on, a few if, buts and maybes, it may be, April before we actually get it back to council. Yeah.
Probably one of my concerns is when you said that we'll be doing the community consultation between December and January, and it's 30 days, and it is going to be Christmas. Are we really giving community a fair opportunity to have a look at that?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Obviously, that's always debatable because, businesses shut down and all that sort of thing. So, we're mindful of that. I mean, if we can get it out in early, the first week in December, then they can, when they come back from their Christmas break, they've still got the balance of January to assess. I mean, we can push it into early Feb if that's... keeping in mind, the consultation is only on the major amendments. It's not about the broader scheme, if you like. So we just need to be mindful that, it's not the whole planning scheme we're opening up again. It's only in relation to those amendments. So
just to clarify for me, so it goes out for community consultation. People are able to then put their submissions in. Those submissions go to your department or to council?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, certainly to the team initially.
Yeah.
And then they'll get assessed. All the submissions will get assessed, and commentary provided. And then there's a report back to council on those submissions and on the consultation process.
So that would come back to council in April?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the number of submissions and the complexities of those submissions.
So I don't have a solution to this, but I'm just making note of the fact that that could be coming back to a complete new council. And, it really puts the, depending on when they have to make a decision on it, it's a pretty, it's something that's going to be coming back to people who are possibly, a lot of them, just fresh, because we all know that, there could be a big change of who's in council. I just wonder how efficient or how effective that is going to be for our community if something's coming in to a brand new council who have no proper understanding of what's happening. I know they're going to be led and advised by staff, but one of the, without being critical of staff, one of the great complaints that I get from community is that our planning staff are difficult to get things through. And, so I just wonder whether, there needs to be some type of instruction for new councillors coming in so they actually understand what they're agreeing to. So just back to you, Manager Brooks.
Oh, if I can go, just one of the, and certainly it's well known in this room, and I don't want to sound like I'm throwing rocks at the state, but one of the difficulties in this process now that they've left us is this was submitted in May, and I think I've got that right, Darryl, May. So we followed up with Deb, with our local member anyway. In the end, we didn't have to go down that path because the letter came through as we were tick-tacking about chasing it up. We've written to the Minister, we've spoken to the department, we've had community members, and so this is the day-to-day operational feedback that you just gave, which we can take and, we are discussing in different circumstances, again, that has no impact on this. This is just a scheme amendment. We're seeking, the caretaker protocols will be coming through very shortly, so I'm hoping to get, well, not hoping, I will have them to SLT next week to pick up, see if I pick up anything I've missed. Major planning decisions are picked up in the caretaker protocols. So what does that mean for this? So I would, then even if it's lawful ethically, do you do it in February, March? Do you? So the consultation period can run as long as we want, and certainly supporting Daryl, it's more than the 30 days. There's a statutory blank-out period in Christmas any which way, so you can't count those days. I think it's from about Christmas Eve through to about 2nd of January or somewhere like that. I'll stand corrected, prepared an ordinary planning application. Whether we bring it back in April or do you start to do the workshops in April, and this will need to be. We had, the staff had, and Daryl's team had a fully comprehensive draft communication strategy way back in May, which had dates, timelines and a whole raft of things that they would have workshopped with council. That's just totally been shot to bits because of the state government. So they're working out the timeline. So there's no model answer to this that will be good, because whatever we do, it's going to end up in the lap of the next council. So how we bring them through and how we go from there, just the timing that the state approval's taken has left us in this position. And so, yeah, and certainly appreciate the feedback. But Daryl, I'll throw to you, but it's just trying to make the best out of this and work out how we can get it, because we still want to get it through in a timely manner now that we've got our hands back on it.
Yeah, I understand. I understand completely the issues that council have encountered. I understand how long we've waited, and I understand that now it's come back, we want to move on it. But my concerns are that it's going to be put in the hands of people that really, a lot of who are going to be totally, there's going to be so many things coming at them, and I just would like to make sure that they have the opportunity to understand fully what they're dealing with. I understand it's not anyone's fault. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but what I'm saying is can we have in place something that makes sure that when they're making decisions on this, that they are fully briefed on all aspects of the town plan, because otherwise, they totally are in the dark. And, it's very important for our community and our region that they make decisions based on community needs and council regulations. That's my only concern.
Yeah,
Thank
through
you.
you, Madam Chair. Obviously, yeah, the timing is pretty average. And as we know, it's been sitting with the state for so long, and now it's been released to us to do the community consultation. So we don't really have an option but to proceed. Otherwise, we'll get criticised of delays again. So yeah, it's just what we need to do. Yes, the timing's not perfect, and obviously if we're doing a report back to the April ordinary meeting, yeah, that we'll have to take a step back, all three, just so should there be new members in the chamber that they're fully across the reasons for the major amendment and some of the background to it, so they can make an informed decision at that time.
So to Mr. CEO, so April, is that likely to be a new council by April?
Election timelines, poll 16th of March, postal votes closed on 26th, declaration will be, at best, declaration of the poll will be Easter Thursday, which is the 28th. That could roll into the first week of April. There will be an April ordinary meeting, and that would most likely be depending on what the new council decides, but you would accept fourth week of April. Yeah. Well, we best have a council by then, otherwise we have a bother.
So, well, as I said, so it's going to be a brand new council coming into it, and I think we should be aware of that and make sure that there is a process in place that those councillors are, duly updated on what is happening, and the ramifications of decisions made. Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just on that major planning amendments, you were saying the consultation's only around that. I thought that once we had the state government had approved their side of it, the major planning amendments, and then it went out to consultation, I thought then there was an opportunity for community to put in submissions on their particular things that they wanted to see changed in the planning scheme, because I know that when that was discussed earlier, we said that we would wait till the major planning scheme went through, and then we would allow community developers or whoever to have the input on not just the major planning schemes, but things that they wanted to see in that planning, in our South Medic planning scheme going forward. Is that not the case? Because when was the community meant to have that opportunity, if not now?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. So obviously, the major amendment has passed now through the state interest reviews, and that's what we're going out to community consultation on. Obviously, if they want to open up the planning scheme, commentary, where we can do other things better, well then, they can make that as a submission, but whether we consider that as part of the amendment to the planning scheme is just dependent upon the nature of the inquiry itself.
That's true, Madam Chair. So I was led to believe that was the process, that we held that, because that community was wanting to put forward submissions and we were just taking them, anyone that did at the time, but then we said when we went out to community consultation, that's when they could actually have their fair input into the broader scheme. So I'm just surprised that now we're only having consultation on the major planning amendments and not the entire scheme, as I was led to believe. So just...
Mr. CEO.
I was going to say, Kathy, can we, Councillor, sorry, my apologies. Can we take that one on notice, because today was just a flag. The advice only came through on Friday, so we can get a full and comprehensive this. Daryl, I'm not jumping the gun, but we'll need to bring a report back, ASPA, anyway, on getting it out to the public. So can we answer that question fully for you in that, rather than sort of jumping around at the minute?
Happy to have it answered, absolutely, 100%. Thank you.
Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you. I just in closing, certainly recognise, the major planning scheme amendment was something that we actually started with very good intentions at the beginning of this term of council. There has been an enormous amount of work, an enormous amount of conversations that have gone into actually getting that major planning scheme amendment to this point. The state interest review was completely out of council's hands, despite many efforts in trying to get the government to speed that process up. I can't help but think that the Queensland Renewable Energy Zone, the decisions and discussions that have happened around that, my personal view is I think that has actually potentially delayed that, along with the delays with the regional planning, the regional plan for the Wide Bay Burnett. It is unfortunate, and I share the disappointment that won't actually be able to, in this term of council, rubber stamp that one, because it was a big ticket item for our term. But I do believe, with the work that we've done, that we have set up the next council for success, and that we have actually put forward some really reasonable planning scheme amendments that I think, if adopted, would actually make an enormous difference, that I know would make an enormous difference. So just want to acknowledge the team for their efforts in getting us to this point. Thank you. It has not been an easy process, and I really am welcoming the opportunity to bring in those changes. Just talking to the likes of Brett Heading the other day at Clovelly Estate, they're ready. They want to invest in tourism today in that area, and they have been frustrated by the time wasted through this process. They are so ready to help grow the tourism potential there in Moffat-Dale in our region, and I know that the changes that we have proposed will make an enormous difference and go a long way in that regard, if and when they get up. I really do encourage our community, though, to take the time, read the detail, don't just gloss over it and think you know all the answers. The reality is there is a lot of work that's gone into that major planning scheme amendment. And until you actually really read those finer details, which we have all had an opportunity as councillors to read, we've had an opportunity to workshop, I think it's very important that you do that and you put your views forward. So thank you for the opportunity, Councillor Erkins, and certainly would like to close out my report for the month.
Thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous. 13.2 Development Services Operational Update. The officer's recommendation that the Development Services Operational Update be received for information. Moved by Councillor Duff, seconded Councillor Potter. Councillor Duff, do you would like to speak on that or go? Any comments on the matter? There are no comments. We'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. 14. Developments Delegated Authority Reports, the 1st of October 23 to the 30th October 23, the officer's recommendation that the Delegated Authority Report be received. We have a mover. Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Henson. Any? Councillor Shoemaker?
Just, I guess, taking the opportunity while David and Darryl and the CEO are in the room, is there anything in this Delegated Authority reports that you would like to share with us or point out in particular that you think Council should be aware of? No? No. I know it's very mundane, but there's actually some exciting, every time you read over these, I don't think what you actually approve is mundane at all. And yeah, just thought I'd take the opportunity to ask you.
Thanks, Councillor. The only thing I would acknowledge, and probably the opportunity, and thank you, is that we've been closing out a few more lately that we have. So besides the ones that come to council meetings, there's been active intention to clear some of the backlog, and so some of the older ones, I think, David, we've got through, and so that's very much acknowledged and appreciated.
So I might put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Carried. The officer's recommendation for the list of correspondence pending completion of assessment report. The officer's recommendation that the list of correspondence pending completion of assessment report is the 31st of October be received. Someone to move that? Moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Henson. So any comments on the matter? To go to the vote, all those in favour? Carried unanimous. Question on notice. The Christmas tree costings. Councillor Henson, are you?
Yeah, no, happy with that response. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Would someone like to move that question be moved by Councillor Henson, seconded Councillor Duff. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor Jones.
Yes, Madam Chair, just on that, I have had a lot of people saying to me in regards to the Christmas trees throughout the South Burnett region, are they going to be decorated consistently? And one doesn't look better than the other across the region. It was a question that I've been asked. Sorry, Manager Peterson, but it is a question that every single town has asked me. And they said that they believe all other towns looking in say that one tree seems to be decorated far better than the other. So I understand you're going to smash me later
Councillor
on.
Jones, you know the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
I'm just bringing it to the attention of the people. They asked me to bring it up in the chamber and ask the question and see what the response was. So I've done it. I'm very sorry, Manager. I understand the complications around this, but I will wait for your comments.
Through you, Madam Chair, All the decorations for the Christmas trees have been purchased, and all the decorations are the same. They are from the same store. So we are installing the same Christmas decorations across the region.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you.
All those in favour of the report being accepted? Unanimous. The second one was a question by myself, that the question regarding how the pools compare with other places, and I see that we really need more time to go into that to give a proper report.
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we have spent a little bit more time on this than what was initially proposed when you asked this question, just to get a full understanding of what we would take to actually do a comprehensive review of the pool comparisons in terms of what models going forward would be utilised in the industry, and how would we compare that to other pools and trends within the industry. So we did actually pull together a scope of works with a very detailed process that we think we need to undertake, and we put that out to the market to get an independent sort of costing, and that's what you've seen there in the report. So going forward, our recommendation to council would be that's something that we would consider in the future, in a future operational budget, to do quite a comprehensive review of pool management models. And I think it's reflective of what's happening in the industry and the changes within the industry, where pools are moving away from being just a place to swim laps and learn to swim. They are becoming a lot more than that, and they're moving into that community hub, that community support, offering a whole variety of training opportunities, as well as fitness and well-being. So yes, going forward, it's something that we certainly do support. Would be a very comprehensive review of management models, but just at the moment we would not have the budget in our current operational budget to do these works. So we'll bring it back in a future year for consideration.
Okay. Just probably a little bit more into my questioning on the pools. You know, we all know that the cost of running our pools, we've got a lot of pools, the cost of running them is, you know, fairly high budget item for our council and our community. So, you know, I look forward. I noticed that the responses range from 20,000 to 21,000 to 61,000, which is a big range. So I look forward to us investigating that further in the future. But I'd like to move the report, the question be accepted. Somebody like to second? Seconded by Councillor Henson. Councillor Shoemaker, you have some comments?
Thank you for the information and like the work that's gone in. Obviously, putting together a scope and getting a cost is quite a job. But I do think it does set us up, like that would be a fantastic operational plan item in terms of really understanding and challenging what we're doing and what we might be able to do and what learnings there are. The 3 management models I thought were really interesting. So council either has direct council management, which I assumed meant that we employ, run, maintain, manage. The public-private management means that we manage the pool, so we open it. I just probably wanted to understand these a little bit better. So would we open it and then we employ a swim coach and those sorts of things to deliver the services? And then the short-term management I thought was interesting and perhaps potentially maybe risky in some ways, that you only have short-term arrangements to manage the pool. Just in terms of getting pool managers out here, I think that's a real, we've seen that with trying to get the Boston pool and those things open, it can be a real challenge. So just keen to understand those models, and just, you know, if you did talk to other regional councils, if anyone's actually doing any of these really well.
Yep, through you, Madam Chair. Most definitely, this is where we've had some of these discussions to look at these management models. The management model of us, council, employing all staff within the pool. So that would include maintenance staff, the kiosk operators, all the learn to swim operators, and all of the lifeguards. And any other activity that you undertake in the pool would be conducted by council officers. So that was the management model one, and that is something that other regions have done. The second model was looking at a combination type of arrangement, which we're aware that, once again, other local government authorities have entered into, where they employ the maintenance staff and the kiosks, I suppose, kiosk type of operators, but all the specialised services within the pool. So whether it's learn to swim, whether it's exercise programs and other activities, they are like subcontractors that they come in. So there's lots of people out there that have got qualifications in that, and they're running that as part of their business, and it could be linked to other business arrangements that they have. So it could be a local gym, and then gym instructor comes into the pool and runs the aerobics class during the summer, but then they also have arrangements back in the gym. So a shared arrangement of that model where it's both council and commercial. The third option was really the short-term management models. They're the sorts of things that we have in place at the moment. So yes, short-term has risk around security for the pool managers, and that's certainly the feedback that we have. But equally, we're very aware that there's high turnover in pool managers, but it's also an industry that has extreme exhaustion with management of pools. They are very long hours, very intense for 7 months of the year. And from our experiences, some cases, pool managers do not look for long-term arrangements like 5 and 10 years where they've got that. They are looking for short-term arrangements. So I think that's just another management model that we need to explore and have flexibility in, and that's why some of our arrangements go for 5 years, but there's options within that 5 years. So they might have it for 2 years, then a further option of a second year, and an option of a final year. So overall, they might have 5 years, but if they need to opt out for whatever reason, they can do so through that management model. So that's just, in summary, just quickly, what sorts of management models that we've been able to explore with other local governments that they've got in place. But we're really keen to do that further review with an independent person, where they would really get into that high level of detail of what those management models look like and where can you actually get a financial return in some of those management models to assist us going forward in how do we create revenue that contributes back to these facilities.
And just with that review, would there be, as part of that, in that scope, an opportunity to actually ask the community about how or what they use the pool for and what they would like to use the pool for, and that future piece? Because I'm mindful this is, all of our pools are ageing. They were built a long time ago. Communities have changed. There's almost a piece around understanding how and what we need. Are we just making the assumption sometimes that a manager and a learn to swim class are the most important things, and are there other things that maybe we're missing?
Yep, through you, Madam Chair, most definitely. And that's why you see that variation there in the price range, because some of the tenderers provided us with examples where they also believe that there is a lot of work to be done in trying to understand what each community needs going forward. So it's fine to say that we need exercise classes, but that may not necessarily be the biggest need for a particular community. They might be looking for some other sort of program to be run in their pools. So most definitely this review would take that into consideration, and it also would take, it also involved a workshop with councillors to actually workshop what is our views going forward for some of these pool areas, because we as council are seeing significant changes, that we're moving away from those traditional swimming models, and we're seeing these pools become a lot more than just swimming. They're training centres, they're hubs for people to come and interact and meet like-minded people. there's a lot more other social activities happening in the pools that we probably don't totally not understand, but how do we quantify that and justify that going forward? That's why pools, you're investing in pools, because you're providing a lot of other services, and it's somehow we need to capture that, and that's how we thought we would do that through, yes, workshops and community engagement.
It's an exciting project. Thank you for the report. I think it'd be a great op plan item.
Yep, I think it's a great, great to look into. I think there's a lot to do and a lot of options for us to work forward. So if there's no further comment, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. So just check what at 11:39, I might declare the meeting closed. Thank you for your attendance.